back to the show. I am your host, Dr. Lisa Olszewski, and I have Jay Campbell here with me today. And I'm super excited about this conversation because he owns a company of some products that I've just started using that I absolutely love. And Jay, welcome. I want to hear your story and I want to know how you ended up getting into your company. I'm going to call it a seer. Is that correct? Like, I don't want to mispronounce it. Okay.
You got it perfect.
Because I just realized I'm like, I didn't even talk to you about that pre-recording. We got onto all sorts of tangents, which I know a lot of our listeners would absolutely love these tangents as well, because Jay thinks like us.
I am one of us, the children of the light, as I call us. Dr. Lisa,
Yes.
I appreciate you having me on here today. Honored, humbled, privileged to be here. I do a lot of broadcasts, a lot of podcasts. Obviously, my brand, I've been podcasting since 2014, which is insane to think about going back that far. But again, it's an honor to be here with you today and to talk about a seer. Just a little bit about my background. I wrote the first mainstream book on testosterone optimization. It was called the TRT Manual. It came out in 2015. It's still the highest ranked book on Amazon from a review standpoint. But my follow-up book to that, which was in 2018, which was called the Testosterone Optimization Therapy Bible, is the number one selling book of all time on it. And also the book that most of the physicians and clinicians and researchers and stuff kind of default to. So that was kind of my backstory. And by the way, I am not a physician. I do have a minor in molecular biology in college. So I am a nerd and I've done a lot of research and I've been combing through PubMed and Medline and stuff in my 20s. I was a total dork. But in 2019, I went to Peru, which is the background on my wall. Right? I do a lot of podcasts and stuff with my wife and other people, and it completely molecularly altered me from what I say, a spiritual or vibrational standpoint. And I told my wife and of course my friends who were on the trip with me, this is in July of 2019, on the plane back from, LATM, Latin America Airlines, that I was not going to be this testosterone guy anymore. I wasn't going to be this testosterone bro. I was going to be this guy, the raise your vibration guy, right? Because to me, it was all about raising human consciousness, which I know you're a big fan of, and you talk about this with all your friends and stuff. We're all connected, but it was crazy at the time because my friends and the people that were in my networks and, worked in my technology groups and stuff were like, dude, are you effing insane? You have 20,000 people a month coming to your website. You have the number one website in the world for testosterone optimization. You got all the docs, you got the round table, you do all these things. How can you do this? And I'm like, because none of that shit matters. Right. So fast forward literally 3 months. And my business partner in a seer, and by the way, just so you know, a seer is the dumbest name of all time for a cosmetic peptide or cosmeceutical company. But Nick, my business partner, Nick Andrews, who's one of the world's smartest people, top peptide formulator, biochemical, big pharma expert, 22 years in big pharma. I mean, the guy's absolute brilliant dork. He was like, a seer, bro. A seer is the old gods, but the benevolent old gods from Norse mythology. So I was, being kind of a marketing guy myself, because my wife and I, in another world, my wife's still involved. I'm not. We own a residential real estate company in Southern California that's modestly successful. And so I've been in the marketing game for a long time before I became this TRT guy and the raise your vibration guy. So I was like, bro, you can't market a seer. You can't. I mean, the average person can't even pronounce the name, right? Like an old lady who wants to have skin improvement to her face. She goes to our website and she's like, oh, she's telling her friends, sorry, a Siri. I mean, it's crazy. So, but we fast forwarded from Jay Campbell becoming the raise your vibration guy in September of 2019 to Nick and I starting this business. And, you can go to aseircustom.com and you can read our About Us story. It's amazing. I mean, Nick formulated a product to stop his BJJ and jujitsu fighting abrasions that he was getting from the gi. Okay. Now he first started talking to docs and cosmetic people and was like, hey, I want to, create this. This is my background. I can do all this stuff. Can you help me? And they're all looking at him like they're crazy. Like what? So he's like, fuck that. Excuse me. I just used the F-bomb.
You're fine. We can.
But he was like, I'm going to just make my own stuff because I can do this. So anyway, he made his own stuff. He started using it. And he was like, we're like best friends. We met on the internet and he's like, bro, you got to get your wife to use this. He's like, it will change her face. Again, this is back in, the end of September, early October, 2019. And so he sent it to me and I put it on, and I'm not a face cream guy now. I am now, of course, but I wasn't at the time. So for me, it was like, yeah, it feels good, whatever. I gave it to my wife, and my wife, after 1 week, was like, what is this? And so that's the kind of the impetus or the birthmark origin story of a seer. She was like, you guys got to sell this. This is insane. Right. So fast forward a couple of months, we had our first two products, which is Royal Blue Serum and Sky Blue Cream. And just so I can differentiate for people, it's both of the products contain 3%, which is nearly a clinical grade of copper peptide GHKCU. Okay. The differentiation is that the Royal Blue Serum is a water-based serum, and the Sky Blue Cream is an emollient, which means it's a moisturizer because it has goat's milk in it. But the differentiation for people who go on our website or who watch your show, and I know we're going to talk deeper about these products, but like most people can get by with only one. Women who are aging, who want the best skin possible, want serum first, cream second. We can talk about things that you can advance the synergies of both together. Like my wife uses red light after she puts on the serum for 3 minutes, and then she puts on the cream because, again, the cream is a moisturizer, so it's going to seal the copper peptide. Now, from an explanation point, so people understand what these things are doing, the copper peptide is stimulating the healthy cellular levels that you had as in your peak, right? So your peak for a woman cellularly would be probably somewhere between 16 and 19 years old, because that's when you have the most blood flow, peak blood flow to your skin. And you also have, all the various enzymatic pathways and processes that are optimized. So that's, again, like peak physicality or appearance to the skin due to all those biochemical cascades. So what the copper peptide does is it stimulates that level of health to a person 40, 50, 60, 70. Now, obviously, if you're 70 and you've been in the sun your whole life, you're not going to look like you did when you're 18. But it's definitely going to improve the tone, the elasticity. It will, without question, reduce fine lines and wrinkles. If you have spots, it will get rid of them too. So, I mean, it is a profound molecular alterer as a peptide product. So that's that. But to fast forward for the company, so you understand, we sent it to Nick. We sent it to Ben Greenfield, and Ben's a close friend of mine. I've been on his podcast twice at that point. And I said, look, just start putting these on your face, especially for your wife. And he was like, what are they? And I was like, it's copper peptide. It's like, he didn't know who Nick was, but I was like, it's a really awesome formulation. Use it. So he started using it. And I think this was in probably January when we sent it to him. And Ben is, Ben, he floats to his own tune. On June 5th, he started promoting them. And literally his team sent me an email at like 5 a.m. and said, oh, by the way, and it was like we blew up. Now, because there's no synchronicities in the world, there's no coincidences, only synchronicities. We actually launched the hair product, Oxano Grow, which was version 1, the same day that Ben promoted the skin cream, the serum and the cream. And it was, I promise you, Lisa, we had no coordination. We had no before knowledge. It literally happened on the same day. So that just literally blew us into the ether. As you know, nowadays, like having a big time influencer promote your product is like better than any form of marketing, because it's, their credibility. Hey, I use this, you should use it too, right? That's like the whole thing is influencer marketing now. So that really took us from this fledgling startup, maybe doing $10,000 to $15,000 a month in sales, to becoming a real company. Yeah. We went to $50,000 in sales in June. And then we kind of kept going to like where we were at 96,000 at the end of Black Friday for November. So we ended up at 96,000 for November. We were like, we're on our way. Here we go. Right. And, again, I tell people this because it's like here to rock bottom in a matter of seconds. Every single bottle that we shipped, by the way, Oxano version 2 launched for Black Friday. And that's what we're using now. And that was a grapeseed extract of the serum B, which is carbon 60, the nanomolecule, and the normal product, which is serum A, the same thing that you're using in the serum and cream for the face, which is, again, copper peptide GHKCU. So both of those products together are synergistic. The carbon 60 acts as what is called a nanomolecular sponge to pull the carbon, the copper peptide in through the first layer of the dermis of the scalp. And obviously it through angiogenic processes of increasing, again, red blood cell count, improving the health of the cells and the follicles, increases natural hair regrowth. So it stops shedding and loss and then actually regrows new hair follicles. Now, if you're a person that is bald, you're not going to get, a miracle because you don't have active follicles on your scalp. If you're a guy or a gal, and by the way, this product works amazingly well for women that have perimenopausal, postmenopausal, and of course, menopausal hair loss. Active follicles, as long as you have low levels of topical and systemic inflammation, again, optimal cellular health, not great cellular health, but good cellular health, it will regrow your hair. And it does it in pretty fast fashion. I mean, we have hundreds, getting close to thousands now of people who have been doing it and have before and afters that are just out of this world. Now, to let you know where I was, is that every single bottle that we sent out after the Black Friday sale, which was we probably sold 500 or 600 orders of Oxano Grow. They broke. The bottles literally broke. Our manufacturer was in Kansas City, and in the early part, the first week of December, last week of November, there was this brutal 20 below zero cold snap. The peptide expanded in the bottle due to the extreme cold, and every single person who bought our bottles, they broke. So we shipped, again, it was 95,000 in sales, probably like 70,000 was Oxano. And it cost us all the cash that we had in reserve for the company just to restitute people, right? So it was a disaster. I mean, literally December and January sales were so anemic. We had to order new bottles from China. There's no way to get the type of bottles we had other than waiting for China, which, again, COVID, shipping, supply chain, logistic issues. So I told Nick, and again, credit to him, in February, we had $16,000 worth of sales. And I was like, bro, a Sear is a horrible name. By the way, we had a provisional patent, we still do, for 8 types of delivery systems for the product. We know the product works, right? It was just a matter of like, dude, let's just shut down a Sear and we'll create another company with a better marketing name. We know what to do. We have a provisional patent. And he was like, no, because, he was emotionally attached to this product and to this company. And I wasn't. I was more of like, dude, I'm a businessman. We start over. Many, many successful people go bankrupt or shut the business down and restart. And he was like, we're not going to do it. We're going to hold on. And I was like, dude, I'm not giving you another penny of my personal money. So if that's what you want to do, that's fine, but I'm out. Now I'm still in, but I'm out from a personal involvement. And to his credit, the bottles came in, Lisa, on March 6th, and he hustled his ass off. Because remember, he's producing them out of his lab in his basement, literally in New Jersey.
Okay.
He got them all, shipped to the 3PL in Kansas City, and the Kansas City shipped everything out. We ended up doing like 43,000 in sales in March, which was a miracle for where we were.
Yeah.
And then April was our big month. Ben went and promoted the hair. Well, he didn't promote it. He did some videos. He started talking about how he was going to regrow his hair and grow his hair out and grow a thick beard, and it was all going to become at the power of Oxano. So we owe him a lot of this origin story, but since then, dude, it's been just insane. I mean, we did 180,000 in sales in April, and now we're working on getting to, the 7-figure number by the end of this year, monthly. And so it's crazy to look at this, to know where we were 10 months ago and where we were 6 months ago when I was like, bro, we're done. I mean, what are you going to do? You can't rely on China. You can't rely on getting these bottles. So it's more of a miracle that, here we are now. And then, we can talk about the products and all that stuff. But, we launched 3 weeks ago, we launched Oxano Brow and Lash. And I don't know if you've used that yet.
Oh, I didn't know that was only 3 weeks. Yes, I'm using it.
Yeah, so
every
it's
day.
3 weeks in the market, and it's already the #1 selling product that we have. And we don't even have a single review.
Oh my gosh.
So nobody's even reviewed it yet because it's only been in the marketplace for 3 weeks, but it's selling like insane. So we know that women are getting results. And, your friend, Dr. Amy, she's been using it because we sent it to her to test it. And she was like, after 10 days, she was like, oh my God.
I would say I've only been using it for like a week. So I have had those hypothyroid brows, right? So I've lost like the outer third of my brows, and I have tried everything, right? And my lashes were doing amazing, even with essential oil blends and that type of stuff. But I was like, I need to try something for brows because nothing is working for me. So I've only been using it.
So you want to keep doing the essential oils and then add this to it. Because remember, our products literally just improve the health of the follicle.
Okay.
So a lot of people, and this is such a great podcast to talk about this because I can differentiate a lot of this. A lot of people think of hair stoppage or regrowth products, and their first thought is, I'm putting it into my hair. Now let's default, right, to minoxidil and Rogaine and all these, I will say it, scandalous DHT inhibiting drugs and supplements that people have been buying. They're snake oil for literally decades. And I think back of like the doctor, what was the guy's name that did the Rogaine commercial? And they created a mousse. And so you put the mousse in your hair and it never gets into the scalp. And so like you're literally doing nothing, right? Like, so, what I can say to you right now for your listeners and for the world is that the only way you can regrow your natural hair is to improve the health of the scalp. So these are not hair loss products, they're scalp health products. So if you want to regrow your hair, whether it's your eyelashes, your brows, because obviously our product does both, or the scalp through Oxano version 2, you have to improve the health of the actual cells in that specific area. So you tell people this all the time. If you're a great big fat person, insulin resistant, type 2 diabetes, metabolic disorder, highly inflamed, comorbid, don't buy our products because you don't have good blood flow. It's proven now scientifically, and obviously we're some of the guys to really get behind this, that the restriction of blood flow to the scalp is what causes hair loss. Even androgenic alopecia is brought on due to environmental stressors, lifestyle, stress. Guys that drink a lot of beer and wear baseball caps destroy the actual blood flow to their scalp. So it's like you want to get your hair thicker and regrown. And again, look, I am living proof. Okay. I had no hair. If you could see that dude under that hat right there, there was like almost no hair. I actually even had the Vantis vehicular replacement, their technology, which is essentially a henna tattoo of your head, done before I started using this product. And now look at my hair, dude. Like, it's insane. Like,
That's
my hair
amazing.
is, I have a bush. I mean, I'm literally getting my hair cut today at 2:00. Every 19 to 20 days, I got to get my hair cut.
That's
So
awesome.
our product will work if you are in good cellular health, if you take care of yourself. For women that have hormonal hair issues, dude, it's insane how fast it works. Now, some women complain, just giving you everything, because version B or serum B, which is the carbon 60, is in a grape seed oil extract, which is a very micro emollient oil. If you spray it into your scalp and you actually massage it into your scalp as you're supposed to, it's going to leave a very light residue. But the problem is, and again, I will clarify this on your podcast, and this is the first time anyone's talked about this, is most women, they spray it into their hair and they run it through their hair thinking that that's what they're supposed to do. And no, you're only putting it into the scalp. So if you got long hair like and my wife has thick curly hair, it's shorter, but she's had really long hair before. For a woman, and we're fixing this so that we make it easier because we're creating a dropper bottle, like a really nice high-end dropper that will attach to the bottle and you can just drop it into the scalp. But if you're a woman now with really long hair and you say, but I can't spray it into my hair because my hair's long, you just spray some into your hand, take your fingers, go like this, and hit it into the spots where you have root issues, right? Like a lot of women are losing their hair around the crown, or some women will lose their hair like through here. That's what you do. You massage it into your scalp and voila, literally within weeks, you will start having terminal hair regrowth.
Is this typically like just done at night then? And like, as long as if it's like
12
That's
exactly
hours,
what I would do.
Okay.
That's what I would do. Now, some people can do twice a day. You know what I mean? Like, it really just depends on the level of microinflammation. So It's a great question. I'm glad you said that. So version 3 that's coming, and I can't tell you when, it's probably going to be, it should be Q1, because the next 2 products coming from us are going to be conditioner, which will be called Oxano Sustain. And I'm going to talk at length about that. By the way, this is all new. Nobody has any of this. You're getting this exclusive. And then Oxano Beard will both be out before the end of the year. And I'll talk about both of them. But to your question, not your question, your comment, It's much better to put it in your hair before you go to bed at night for one specific reason. When you're sleeping, you're not having microinflammations that the environment of your life is creating, right? You're a chiropractor, you go into your office, you're around all these people, you're trading energy. You have no idea the energy these people are putting off, right? Sometimes they're putting off really bad energy. That's causing microinflammations to your scalp. You're adjusting them, you're dealing with physical stressors, blah, blah, blah. Whatever it is, people that are hard hat people, whatever. Putting it on in the morning versus putting it on at night, you're going to have way less inflammation when you sleep at night than you do during the day. Now, again, if you got severe loss, you're a man or a woman, and you want to be aggressive with, regrowth as possible, you absolutely can do AM, PM. I choose night. I literally put the serum and the serum A and serum B on at night after I take a shower. So if I shower at like 7:30, I probably have a couple hours before I go to bed. It completely dries into my scalp and I go to bed. Some people will complain and they'll be, we get them all, right? But they'll be like, well, it's great. It's regrowing my hair, but I'm waking up and my pillow's oil. That means that you're oversaturating your scalp. It's very clear on the instructions, very clear on the videos on our website. We're actually improving the packaging to have a QR code with the videos and written instructions, because again, people seem to be so dense. And as you know, people are just engineered to just not do in USA, it's more is better, right? More is better. Well, if some is good, then more must be better. It's not with our product. 2 sprays, massage it into the area of each serum A, serum B, and let it work on its own, provided that, again, you are living a clean, low inflammation lifestyle. It literally is that simple. Spraying it 4 times, spraying it 5 times, even 3.5 times, is not going to improve your results. You have to improve the health of the cells in the area that you're applying. And it takes, if you're in good cellular health, somewhere between 4 to 6 weeks. I mean, we've had people, I swear to God, Lisa, who have completely regrown their hair in a month. And they're just like, this is insane.
So
what is going on?
If they've got good diet, and then this is when they're incorporating good collagen and all that type of stuff. And that's when the quality of the hair, I mean, that's what I've noticed.
Absolutely. 100%.
Like my story is that I had lost a ton of hair years ago when I did intermittent fasting, like all the guys. Right. And so this is what I love, is having it all back here. But that's the thing, is that I've just got where my eyebrows from my thyroid.
That's a very good point. Cause I've written 2 very extremely well-read books on fasting. And I tell people, when you increase autophagy and hormesis, you're increasing cellular stress. So sure, it's great because you're now increasing these fight or flight hormones that are attacking these stubborn fat areas and, the type 2B androreceptors. But at the same time, you do create more cellular stress, which if you're not getting enough sleep, which obviously intermittent fasting even interferes with sleep. And by the way, I'm a huge proponent of intermittent fasting. I do it myself, but it does have its negative side effects if you don't know how to combat them. And people that fast a lot usually have horrible sleep because their body's glucogen axis is running super, high pumped all the time. And when you have like a massive amount of glucogen and no insulin, why would you sleep? Your body's like,
let's go. Yeah. No, I totally get that. And I'm always that one that just says, hey, you know what, women, we got to do things a little bit differently than men. So, and especially, unfortunately, I learned the hard way. And it was at that time period of my life, I was traveling every single weekend. So you think about just stress, it was coming at me.
You were just stressed out of your mind.
It was horrible.
Yeah.
So for somebody that might be listening saying, what exactly is a peptide? This might be, we've never talked about peptides on the show before. So awesome. Can you go into exactly what peptides are and why you're seeing such great results with them, especially?
Yes, definitely. And I would definitely encourage people, because this is a definite esoteric discussion. I'm going to make it as lay as possible. I would definitely encourage people to go on our site, asiracustom.com, and click on the science tab at the top. And you can read about peptides. It's a very basic understanding of what they are. But basically what peptides are fractionated proteins. And what that means is, like, what the fuck does that mean? A fractionated protein is basically a healthy protein molecule from your cells that we're now taking to synthesize, or we're synthesizing it to regenerate or to revitalize or to stimulate healthy cellular health for whatever specific area. For example, the peptides that people know about nowadays to heal, BPC 157, BPC stands for body protective compound. and TB400 or TB500, which is thymosin beta. When you use those two in combination at an area, let's say that you've had injured, like a sprain, a knee twist, an elbow blowout, a shoulder injury, whatever, you inject these peptides in the areas of localized irritation where the injury, the origin of the injury is, and it literally can increase the speed of healing at 4 to 5x, again, depending on the state of the individual, right? Like, again, a person who is obese, who tears their ligament in their ankle, is not going to get the same speed and rate of regeneration as somebody who's in good health and is already, like, again, cellularly optimal, right? But peptides essentially are what I call the now and future of medicine, because they eliminate the need for allopathic procedures, again, because they take the body's natural defense and immunity and speed the rate of cellular regeneration. So our products, like with Aesir, none of our products are at a clinical level. And this is also a nebulous topic because nobody even knows what a clinical grade is for the standpoint of the FDA approving it, the AMA, and all of the acronyms in the allopathic medical community approving it. So it's kind of like we are in a new frontier, like I call it the wild, wild west. And my business partner, again, Nick Andrews, the formulator, has 20 plus years in the biopharma world. Like, he has been a regulator in the big pharma space. I mean, the guy actually, just to throw it in there, is one of the people that was behind, like, the design and the research of mRNA. I won't need to say anything else beyond that, but he's, like I said, one of the smartest people on the planet.
Wow.
And so I have very high level conversations with very high level people about the world about that. And, that's not a conversation for the show, because we could go.
Oh, we've gone on this topic though. Hence, when I say my Zoom gets, when my Zoom and my IP address all get targeted, it's because we're covering those topics.
Exactly. But so from a peptide, big picture standpoint, like, there's all these amazing products that are out there. They're known, they've been researched. Many of them are orphaned pharmaceutical drugs, because the way the orphaned pharmaceutical industry works is that they design a drug for a specific purpose and intent. And then if it doesn't work out for that specific purpose and intent, because they spent, and allocated so much funding and research and development on that, they just say it's an orphan drug and it sits there. So a lot of these peptides were basically just orphan drugs that researchers and doctors and scientists started using for other things. And here, now we have like literally thousands. I mean, I'd say there's probably 50 to 100 that are regularly used in the world today. By people in the biohacking space, people like me, obviously people like Nick and I, in formulating our products in our company, but most people don't understand what they're about. And I will just say this, and this is not to be a shill and to sell it, but Nick and I are creating a peptides course, and it's about 80% done. And it is literally earth changing. Like, the average person will be able to take this course and then get done with it and be like, okay, I want to use peptides.
That's awesome.
So it's going to be a matter of, will they be able to access, as I was telling you before this call started today, because if that happens, then it won't really matter, because then, you're going to only be able to get FDA approved peptides. And as we know, anything that's FDA approved costs a lot of money.
Yeah.
So that automatically will shelter many, many people from the opportunity of using these things. But by and large, now there are still literally thousands of research chemical companies on the planet that sell peptides. I mean, you have to go on the website and sign an affidavit that says you're using these on your laboratory animal. You agree to use your rodent, or your hamster, and obviously, come on. I mean, we know that people are using these because, again, they have incredible life enhancing benefits in so many different ways. Now, again, our products from Aesir is not that, what we use is totally approved. Yeah. You can go on Amazon, and there are 100 products on Amazon right now selling GHK-Cu copper peptide. And if you tested them, you would literally find less than 0.0111% of the product. Right. Now, our product is literally a 3% grade of copper peptide GHK-Cu. Anybody can take our product and test it, reverse engineer it, and they will see that. Now, the reason that nobody sells that, Lisa, is because it's expensive.
Right.
L'Oreal and some of the other big name cosmetic companies have been using copper peptide GHKCU in their products since the 70s,
Oh,
but not at a level that produces any sort of result. We are the first company to embrace the power, the healing potential and revitalization, rejuvenation, all that stuff of the healing power of peptides and put them in products that are sellable to the average person who get the most amazing results. And again, you know, I will say our products are quote unquote expensive relative to the shit show that people are buying from. Let me give you another example. People who have been using minoxidil or Rogaine with no results. And remember, and we've written about this, and I think you know this, if you use those products, when you inhibit the DHT molecule, which is dihydrotestosterone, whether you're a male or female, once you stop using it, the hair that you had that you thought you were being saved, which really you weren't, that's a whole other story, falls out. So imagine being a person using these products for 5, 10, 15 years, only because if you stop using them, what little hair you have falls out.
Right.
That's the prey methodology, the prey mantis methodology of the pharmaceutical industry. So here we are, this chief disruptor. Yeah, we're this chief disruptive company. We tell people, like, not only is your hair not going to fall out if you stop using it, it's going to be there forever. You're going to regrow your hair and it's going to stay there forever, provided you continue to maintain good cellular health. You cannot go become a fat person eating Doritos and Mountain Dews all day long and not expect to have fallout, literally and figuratively, from poor cellular health. So most people use our hair product and in 4 months are back to where they're like, dude, I don't need to regrow it anymore. I just want something that's going to maintain it. What do you have? Well, you living a healthy lifestyle is going to be the best person to maintain what you've regrown. But we are creating a conditioning product so that people feel, because again, you know, people want to feel like mentally that they're not going to lose their hair. Because again, all these DHT, minoxidil, Rogaine people, they think like, if I stop using it, my hair's going to fall out. So we're creating a conditioner that you will use like once or twice a week. And you just put it, again, it's a scalp health product. It's actually going to be called Oxano Sustain. And you will literally, like a JP Mitchell, you know, conditioner with a pump dispenser, you'll pump a couple of things into your hair. You'll get out of the shower at night and you will literally, again, massage it into your wet hair, not the hair, the scalp of your wet head, and let it dry. And then, you know, you will ultimately continue to improve the follicle health of your scalp.
I love it. I just love everything about nutraceuticals, right? Because that's the whole, like, we say this a lot, is to follow the money within within the healthcare model. There's no money to be made on healthy people. And so the best thing is, you know, get somebody on a drug for the rest of their life, right? Like, let's put them on a cholesterol med. Let's not teach them how to eat. So it's the same thing, even with hair products. So
you realize I have a whole video. So I have a hormones course and a peptides course coming. I have an entire video on withdrawing from the bullshit big pharma meds that most of you are using right now, and you don't even know why you're using. I mean, again, you've been brainwashed and coached to go to the doctor and say, hey, doc, this is my symptoms. And then that doctor has been brainwashed and coached by the pharmaceutical reps to say, oh, when they have this symptom, you write them this script. And when you have this symptom, it's this script. It's again, treat the symptoms, never address the root cause. So imagine when you start addressing the root cause, right? So you could just see me, Lisa, and I'm going to send this to you, by the way, so you can see the videos before it goes live. But like, I'm sitting there saying, okay, you're on an SSRI. Okay. First, get permission from your doctor, right? You know, I got all the science covered. And then it's like, okay, this is what you do. And then it's like, oh, you're on a DHT inhibitor. You're taking Propecia. You're taking finasteride. You're taking dutasteride. Okay, this is what you do. Oh, you're on an anxiety medication. Oh, you're on a blood pressure medication. I mean, think about this shit. All this crap that they give people literally makes them worse. It makes their hormonal deficiency, which, as you know, is usually the root cause of everything, exacerbated. So now these people are lost and they're on 6 different drugs. That's the average.
Yeah.
And by the way, this is healthy people.
And then for an elderly person, quadruple that. Like,
dude,
it's
exactly.
Crazy.
Right. I'm talking about a 35 to 45-year-old male or female who has no earthly idea about the things that you and I live about,
right?
Who goes to the general garden variety PPO, HMO doctor, and the doctor has no idea either.
No. And it's just how they've been trained. I mean, exactly. Yeah, I was in a
Exactly.
documentary. It was like 2 years ago, a better way in. So that's why I came in, obviously talking about the opioid epidemic as a
Of
chiropractor, we're
course.
seeing that. But it was going through, and like I remember living through the 90s, like they trained us. There used to be a time period when we didn't have commercials on TV about
I know,
drugs.
dude.
Right. And they started it. So I think once people start realizing that, and the one that I remember speaking about that made, I don't know if it made it in the documentary or not, but were all the women that were given Prozac, but it was off labeled as Seraphim, and they were given that for their PMS disorder. And then they're like, you guys just put me on Prozac. Like they had no idea. So
Think about birth control.
no kidding. And these women that come in that are messed up for the rest of their life because they
Dude,
were put on birth control because of a bad period or a couple of zits during the
right.
month.
So let's go
Oh my God.
deeper because you're the show to talk about this.
Yeah.
So think about men in society today
Yes.
who are completely emasculated. They have no testosterone. Do you realize there are 20-year-old, 18 to 22-year-old men who every day go to doctors now and they test them and they have 60 or 70 or 80 total testosterone? These are times when men should be through the roof.
Yes.
The World War II generation naturally had men walking around with 1,000+ levels of total testosterone and free testosterone 30+. So
Mhm.
you're literally dealing with an epidemic that is so out of control. And these kids were literally engineered by Big Pharma
Mhm.
because their mothers and their fathers, of course, were behind it. They were supporting of it, were not allowing the woman to get pregnant from having regular intercourse. And then these things not only contaminated their own kids, it went into the freaking water
No
supply, dude.
kidding. No kidding. And then everybody on the soy formula that the kids started being fed in like,
Dude,
what was that, 80s, 90s? Like,
Dr.
holy crap.
Anthony J conclusively proves this in his book. Keep it very close to me. Estrogeneration, you know, how
Oh.
estrogenics are making you fat, sick, and infertile. This
Mhm.
guy's a good friend of mine, the lead Mayo Clinic researcher. He proves that it's so contaminated in the USA right now that if you put any fish, male fish, into any freshwater tributary stream, lake, aqueduct, anywhere they can survive, within 12 months, they become females.
Oh my gosh.
So the male fish become female fish. So again, look around. You think this is conspiracy theory. This is
No,
not
it's not.
conspiracy theory. Look at the men. They
Mhm.
look like women. They act like women. They don't have total testosterone levels, even like they're negligible. Like you couldn't even get any masculinity from them because they don't have the biochemical structure to be masculine.
It's the, yes.
And
And
you
then
know,
I'm,
it works two ways
yeah.
because the younger girls are completely emasculated too. Their estrogen levels are so insanely high that they have become chemically castrated themselves. I mean, you
Mhm.
probably, if you took 20 women off the street under the age of 25 and you did their labs, you'd be like, oh my God. But this is the environment that we're in now.
Yeah.
So you have to be proactive. You know, you have to be people that watch your show, people that watch my show, that listen to us. How do I take my health into my own hands, right? Like my course is the very beginning is like, look, you have to become the proactive scientist of your own health. If you're not
Yes.
doing that or not willing to do it, then you're going to be on, as you said, at 60, 15 to 25 different
Yeah.
color-coded pills. The geriatric industry, Lisa, they've built a cottage industry around color coding drugs for old people to remember to take. That's
The
how
whole,
insane it is.
and to know that it's the United States that takes the majority of all drugs, like all prescription meds. Like this isn't happening in a lot of the different parts of the world, like with the
dude.
medications. I mean,
Nowhere.
and I really think of what we've gone through the last 18, 19 months has really only proven everything that we're talking about, right? Like I've seen medical podcasts where the MDs are literally stating this is the fall of modern medicine right now.
Yeah,
And I
this
was
is
like,
it. Yeah. Well, no, it's gone. No, look, that, and again, that's in my show too. I'm glad you said that. Like the best part of this now, and again, I'm not saying that there's anything good that came out of this because as you know, most people are in the worst physical health they've ever been in.
Yes.
They're in absolute total fear. I mean, again, you know, again, without getting into the debate, I know where you and I are standing and fall on it, but like all you have to do now is go to a giant cavalcade of humanity, an outdoor shopping mall, an indoor shopping mall, a venue where it's, again, the public is like the best places are outdoor shopping malls because you can see what it's like, especially in California where you have sun most of the time. And you will literally see the population divided by mask wearing in bright sunlight, and those people that are walking around looking at the people in masks like, are you fucking insane? Right? So it's like, that's where people have been herded into psychologically. The line in the sand is like either fear or like, no, I'm empowered and I'm sovereign and I'm in control of myself. And then the rest of the people are in fear. And again, I have no judgment. You can choose whatever side you want, but that's where the society is. So it's very clear that if you want to move forward, as we move forward in the next 10, 15, 20 years, assuming society even has that long left, and that's a debatable question too, then you have to choose sovereignty. And sovereignty is not going to the fucking allopathic doctors, not saying, but my copayment is $40 a month. Like all of that shit is gone.
Exactly.
Who would even go to a doctor or emergency room or any of that shit today unless you were bleeding out, you were shot with
was a massive, exactly, a massive injury at this point. I know. I have been paying out of pocket for like my chiropractic care and like my massage and everything holistic that I do. And I've done that for the last 25 years. But like, that's the reality is that, I mean, I have my insurance for that emergency care, which is what they're great for that.
You're paying legalized extortion in the event that you need a life flight or evacuation from a horrible car accident or something even more insane happens, right? But you're right. I mean, but see, you and I are the exception. There are few people that actually understand that it's, you should be paying out of pocket. Like and again, this is never discussed either. There's been documentaries, of course, on Netflix about it, but like, if you're a smart consumer and you go to the doctor and yes, you have insurance due to your job or whatever bullshit, why would you pay their negotiated insurance rates, which are a scam, when you can literally say to the doc, hey, can I have you come over to the side when your nurse is not there or, your PA or whatever? And like, if I pay cash, like, what is this going to cost me? Because those people want to make money too, and they're being subrogated by the scandalous system. So they're going to be like, oh, well, if you want to do it that, and then you get a better rate.
Yeah.
But you're going to have these conversations with people, and they're not educated to be taught to negotiate with doctors.
And this, I mean, I was 2004 is when I opened up my practice, and we don't accept insurance, and people have, it's always been that, right? People are like, well, how come this isn't? I was like, do you understand like the visit that you're getting here? This is a $200 visit in any other office. And I'm like, and you get it for like $60.
Dude, that's exactly what I pay. I pay $57 and I negotiate 4 chiropractic visits a month. And that's what the net cost is. And I just they just bill my card. And if I don't come in 4 times in a month, I don't care. It's worth it to me. I go in once a week. I'm a highly, active, trained human being, and I need to be adjusted by people who know what the fuck you're doing.
And especially at this time period, people are in everybody is in a sympathetic fight or flight response after being locked in their freaking home for the last year and a half, watching the news. They're stressed out. They need to be adjusted just to calm themselves down, right? Like that's it. We could go on this forever. Absolutely. Well, I'm going to give a little shout out. It was Dr. Amy Horniman that introduced me to your company. And it was funny because I texted her, I told you this, within a day of just using the cream, I've been doing a lot of collagen support. So my wrinkles were all disappearing anyways, but I was like, I think this is looking even better. And I texted Amy, is it possible that after one use? And she's like, yeah, I hear it a lot. So absolutely love the product. So awesome. I think we could talk for a long while, but I know we both probably have, I have to run back.
I'm happy to go. I don't have any, whatever you want to ask me questions or talk about specifically, I'm good. I know we've, been on for about 45 minutes or so, but I'm happy to continue to, whatever you want to ask me, I'm good.
Let's talk about the raising human consciousness.
Yeah, for sure.
I think that's a big deal right now.
Yeah. It's the only thing. We can laugh, but it's the only
need to.
It's literally the only thing that matters. We have a society of humans who have been shepherded into the fear zone, and they will not, so I always defer to my map of consciousness, which is from Dr. David Hawkins. And, he calibrated. Are you familiar with the map of consciousness?
Yes.
Okay. Cool. So for people that aren't, very simply, this is a calibrated scale of, again, according to Dr. David Hawkins's research, of 0 to 1,000. And 0 is at the lowest level of consciousness. So, you're in fear, pain, misery, suffering, versus the highest level is 700 to 1,000, which would be considered enlightenment or pure consciousness or pure awareness or whatever. So humans must get to a level So this is the line of integrity of 200, which is considered courage. But we have to get to a point of 250 as a species, which is neutrality, before we can end this charade. Because at this point, if you don't know that this is a charade, then that's because your consciousness is down here. And your consciousness is being controlled due to the fear that they have put you in. Because when you're in fear, you're completely locked up. You cannot expand anything, awareness, consciousness, even just the light, right? Like really in truth, like everything is light and dark. You know, we are literally just vibrating particles, electrons, protons, molecules, and standing waves. That's all we really are at a pure spiritual being or energy being essence standpoint. And so it's like, once you get to that level of awareness, like, you know, they can't keep you down here anymore. So for my statement, it's like, we have to get at least 20% of the human population to 250 or higher.
I think we're
because the higher the person's consciousness, the more you can, through, again, we can use words, but through resonance, you can get other people who are lower on the scale to move up just because of your energy field. So if you take 10 people vibrating at, say, 400, which is understanding, and then you get up into the love fields of love and reverence and benign, which is 500, and you put, say, 10 of us in a room with thousands of people in fear, you will literally lift all of those people in fear to right around the line of integrity, and some of them might get higher. Now, when people say, Jay, what does the line of integrity mean? It means either you're in service to self, which is below the line of integrity, which means you only give a shit about you, versus service to creation or others. And I like to say creation, because when you say others, you're kind of limiting it. So I say creation, which is basically all other life. Now, a great way to explain this for people to understand this, because this is getting esoteric, is if you're in an environment in your life where an accident happens. You could be at a mall and somebody has a grand mal seizure. You could be driving down a freeway and a car overturns, whatever. The people who are in service to others instantly will stop what they're doing, stop their car on the side of the road, you know, in the mall, if they're administering to attend to this person, they will literally drop everything to help that other person. Now, this is a scary statement, but I stand behind it because I've been involved in situations like this for a lot. And obviously I've highly studied this stuff. If you're in a mall and you see a grand mal seizure, especially in a crowded mall in a big major city in the world today, 90% of people will do nothing. You know what they will do though, Lisa? They'll pull the camera out and start videoing it.
Oh my God.
So this is service to self, okay? Now, the media has engineered the population, which I call the human central computer, the collective consciousness, to be in service to self. They, you know, send them negative messages all day in social media, negative messages on the news, fear porn. Everything is negative. Everything is to keep your vibration down here. So you have to opt out, right, and choose creative, courageous, you know, high vibration, golden rule type stuff, and be that way with creation. But when you're over the line of integrity, you are going to render aid to that person. Okay. Dogs, this is sad, but this is the truth. Dogs, on average, have a higher vibrational field than humans. And you know how that's possible? There's thousands of videos on YouTube and Twitter and all social media right now where you see an animal will drop into a lake or an ocean or whatever, and will be drowning, and another animal will literally jump into the water without even knowing that animal and let the other animal climb onto its back. And then that, you know, it's a lot of times it's dogs. The dog will dog paddle to shore and save that other animal, and then they'll just go about their world. That is service to creation. They are instinctually animals, especially domesticated animals, designed to help. When you go home to your house, and I don't know what animals you have at your house, hopefully you have a dog or whatever, cat, dog, cat. When you spend time with your animal and your animal is like so happy to see you and it's wagging its tail a million miles an hour, that is unconditional love. That animal has unconditional love for you, its master. And that is an energy field that dog is producing. So I always tell people, like, no matter how shitty your day is, go home, be with your domesticated animal, get in that animal's energy field, and you will literally have your vibration lifted.
That's
It's
awesome.
literally that simple. Like people always say to me, like, I don't understand unconditional love. You talk about it, I listen to you talk about it. I'm like, dude, you can experience unconditional love every single day when you're with your dog and he's wagging his tail 1,000 miles an hour, wanting to see you. Hold him, jump in his energy, lay on him, dogpile with him. You
Yeah,
know what I mean? And you will literally experience the energy field of unconditional love, and that will raise your vibration.
that's
And,
awesome.
this is all stuff that I learned, through my work in the last 10
Hmm.
years, my meditation and all the inner work and practice that I do. But like, Lisa, before I was 40 years old, dude, I was lost. I was one of these
Yeah.
people. Everybody is lost at some point in their life, but it's about figuring out that this is not where we want to be, that we want
Hmm.
to be up here. We want to be serving, like every single day, right? Like I wake up, I have mantras, I meditate, I spend time in nature with my dog, but I have a mantra like I am serving creation through my company because we are literally selling products to the world to help them with problems that have existed for
Yeah.
eternity with the hair and skin, right? So like I
Hmm.
have this amazing, I'm grateful, but I have this amazing gift to be able to push these products into the universe to help people. And so like that is like what I live for, and that's my service to creation every day. Now, granted, of course, we make money, we sell these products, but it's an exchange of energy.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? And like literally, I'm doing this for helping people. And if I have a
Yeah.
tough day, we all have tough days. We're in the matrix, we're in the third dimensional matrix construct. I go home and I be with my dog. And for me, going home is leaving my studio, walking to the other side of my house, going down my staircase and spending time with him. Now, by the way, he's here right now laying next to me.
I love it. That's awesome.
You know what I mean? But like that is what is a simple anecdotal, explanation or conversational way of like understanding all this stuff. Cause this can be very esoteric if you don't follow it,
Hmm.
you know. Let me just say this, like, and this is good. I mean, I'm glad you're allowing me to say this, but like when you get to an awareness level of consciousness, what is consciousness? You will realize that you are nothing more than a spiritual being having a physical experience. We have chosen at soul level to come into this third dimensional state of being, which is obviously very viscous and thick and low vibrational, because again, we are material beings,
Hmm.
instead of who we are at base essence, which is this energy being, this soul, this plasmatic fire, whatever you want to call it, biophotons. And when you get to an awareness of that level, you're not afraid of death. You're not afraid of COVID. You're not afraid of people telling you to wear
Right.
masks. You're like, dude, I'm an infinite being
Yes.
and I will continue forever when this physical body, this J. Campbell bullshit name that I've created for this, this
This time.
incarnation dies, right? We know the physical body will expire, but your energy is at a soul or spiritual level. It's never going to die. You're going to continue and your journey is going to continue.
And
So
I
it's like,
really,
get to that point where you're like, you know what, dude, it's cool that I have this stress and these struggles and I can't pay this bill or my job is bothering me or whatever. But at the end of the day, the big picture is that I'm an energy being and I might as well just enjoy my time in this physical meat suit forever, how long it is.
and I feel like, and it's interesting with a lot of the guests this past year on the podcast, like there's a lot of people that we all just kind of feel like we all chose to be here during this time period. And so I
Totally.
think, like there's going to be a lot happening and they've talked about it, just people are waking up for sure to all sorts of things,
Massively,
so we can absolutely
massively.
be, we are raising that consciousness slowly.
Yeah. No. And again, with people like you and allowing me a chance to
Yes.
speak, it's like I always say, it's the 100 monkey,
Hmm.
complex where it's like,
Hmm.
it takes 100 monkeys waking up to raise the vibration of a million. And then
Yeah.
once that million, hits 10 million, the tipping point's reached. And, we're going to be at 20 to 25% of population at neutrality. Because, dude,
Yeah.
once we get to neutrality, everything ends. The matrix ends. I mean, you
Yeah.
already know this whole system is divide and conquer.
Yeah.
They want us divided and conquered.
Yes.
Republican, Democrat, liberal, conservative, you know, good guy, bad guy, light, dark. It's the whole mythos of Star Wars,
Yeah.
the light side and the dark side. They just
Yeah.
want us divided instead of unified.
And they've been doing it for decades and we played right into it.
Forever.
Yeah.
Probably since the
Yeah. Yeah.
beginning.
It was so true. All right. Jay Campbell, give them your website where they can find all of your social handles.
For sure. Lisa, it's been an honor to talk to
Yeah.
you. I don't get a chance to expand like I did
Yes,
today.
that's
So
so
I'm
awesome.
really grateful and I appreciate you. The easiest way to find me is my website, my personal website or personal brand is J Campbell. It's Jay, middle initial C, last name spelled out, Campbell.com. So there is a middle initial C, but it's like Campbell soup. If you go there, I have tons of free information. Some of the world's top articles still to this moment on peptides and understanding like how peptide science works. Definitely the best on hormones. I actually have a link, which I'm happy to give you right now. And you can put
Yes.
this in the notes is jayccampbell.com/free books. And they will get a PDF copy of the Testosterone Optimization Therapy Bible, which is way beyond testosterone. And then they also get the fourth best-selling fasting book of all time called the Metabolic Blowtorch Diet. So they get
Awesome.
PDFs for free, downloadable. If you guys want to utilize the Aseer products, you have a code, but you go to Aseer Custom, ASEIR custom.com, and make sure you use Lisa's affiliate code, which is it's Dr. Lisa.
Dr. Lisa 15. Yeah,
15.
you get 15% off.
So guys, that's the best discount that we offer. We do offer like every 6 weeks, we have a sale and one of them is going on right now, but by the time this runs, it'll be canceled. So 15% is a really good discount on our products. Our margins are not big. We make very effective products and it's very difficult to manufacture them. So at 15% discount, you're getting a rock star deal.
That's awesome. Well, thank you so much for your time today. I'm so glad we connected.
Thank you, Lisa. I appreciate it.